All right, so NFLPA President J.C. Tretter is like, excuse me, y'all thought there was some kind of preferential treatment to us getting our game rescheduled to Monday. I'll have you know that you jokers wouldn't have got paid if it wasn't for the NFL Players Association postponing rather than capitulating to the NFL, which wanted to cancel the games and not pay y'all. So thank you, or you're welcome, says J.C. Tretter, or something like that. I mean, COVID continues to cause all kinds of chaos across the country, and specifically the NFL. 15 Jets, and that's just players.
15.
Robert Saleh has got COVID as well. 15 Jets on COVID-19 reserve now. It's the only topic, really, right now. I mean, we could talk about the games, but as we talked about yesterday, Michael, these games, you know, you can't tell who's playing in them from day to day or week to week. Charles Robinson is here with us. Charles, simply put, man, the NFL has updated its protocols in an attempt to get these last 48 regular season games and 13 postseason games in, as they were fortunate enough to do last year. What do you think about how the league and the Players Association are responding to the Omicron COVID surge? And B, how confident are you and the people you talk to that they will have the same level of good fortune as they did last year in finishing out this season?
Well, I mean, they've turned the COVID testing into an honor system. So, I mean, it's pretty much, I think they're going to be fine, because I just don't believe, I think whatever happens, once we get past this, at least wave that happens this week, I don't think guys are going to turn themselves in if they feel like they might have it. I really don't. I think that it's made for strange bedfellows. And what I mean by that is, so what J.C. Tretter came out and said today, we actually reported that news late last week, that the reason why this got moved, I believe we reported it on Friday, is because no one was getting paid for these 3 games. It was not going to happen. It was going to be a forfeit for all 6 teams. No one's going to get paid. And it was interesting in the course of those conversations. I was talking to someone at the union, and they said, when we went into advanced protocols for the remainder of the weekend, which was total lockdown, masking everywhere. If you're traveling and you're in a team hotel, no one can visit you. You can't go out, stay out of social settings. Basically, the most heightened sense of what it was in 2020, they just did that for a weekend. They got bombed. Like the union got hammered by players who were so upset that they had gone back into advanced protocols, and who just said repeatedly, why are we doing this? We don't even want to do this anymore. We don't want to test anymore. We don't want to talk about COVID anymore. We don't want to have the COVID, reserve list anymore. Just be done with it. And the union is sitting there like, we're trying to keep everybody healthy. Like that's what we care about, is the health of, and the players are just like, just stop. Go ahead and let us play. We just want to play. We don't care if we have COVID or not. If we feel like we can play with it, we want to play with it. And so you have the unions like, we don't know what to do. Like at this point, like the players and the league are together on this one. And the way it was put to me was like the football people won on this one, not the science. The science lost, the football people won.
The football mob won.
Yeah. So I have no doubt that there is going to be some level of success moving forward, because I think, again, it's the honor system. And we saw how that turned out with the vaccination cards. That was the honor system. Vaccination cards is the honor system. Okay, well that didn't work. Okay. That we should have bat 1,000 on that one.
Yeah.
Well, look, but is it really that complicated? I don't know if you guys heard Adam Silver yesterday when he talked about the pause. Is the NBA considering a pause? And he gave a very corporate answer, but the bottom line, if I had to interpret it, it would be, are you out of your mind? You know how much money we lose if we put a pause on the season? We ain't doing that. So isn't that really what this is about, Charles? It's not just the passion of the players, but everybody is trying to keep the money train moving as long as possible.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And, I think everyone is approaching it differently. Some players, I do get the frustration of, let's say like Baker Mayfield, right? Baker Mayfield's trying to do everything he can to try and salvage the remainder of this season with the Browns. And he felt like he could have gone, and he did everything he could to try and get out there and could not get the negative test that he needed. And so you have players who are like, I feel fine. I can go out there and play. just let me go out there and play and worry about my own health. You have the league that's saying we have TV slots. We've told you before, we're not moving out of these TV slots. And here's the thing. The reason why they had to reschedule, it wasn't just because the fact that these games were ultimately going to be forfeited. The league last week experienced like a couple NFL rosters where players were just like, yeah, you know what? We just aren't going to go out there. Like, we're going to straight up, almost for lack of a better term, strike. We're going to strike. We're just going to say we don't have a team where we can go out there and be competitive. This isn't going to be safe. Like, fine, if you're not going to allow us to have guys who should be out there, if you're not going to allow them to be out there, then none of us want to be out there. Like the Rams, a bunch of Rams players had this discussion during the middle of last week where they were just like, look, if you're not letting the guys go out who should be out there, who can be out there, then why are any of us going out there? And so maybe we just won't go out there. I think so. The league was kind of grappling with that too. You don't want a total mutiny on your hands where now players are just like, hey, either let us all play or none of us are going to play. But it's money. You're right. I mean, it is what it is. And yeah. I'm kind of clapping my hands at this point and walking away from the table. And I'm just like, y'all are grown. If that's the world you want to live in, if this is the consequences that you want to live with, I'm going to go ahead and let you do that now. And I'm going to live and worry about myself, and y'all can worry about yourself, because that just seems to be how we're operating now.
Brady still leads the league in attempts, completions, passing yards, and touchdown passes. Rodgers is the leader when it comes to passer rating by a pretty healthy margin over Brady, that is. Actually, Michael, FYI, you know who the second highest rated passer in the NFL is this year, Michael Holley? This is just from you, Michael Holley? Matthew Stafford.
It's probably Matthew Stafford. Yeah.
It is Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Anyway, but having said all that, Michael, or Charles, we were talking about Cooper Kupp and whether or not a record-breaking season would be enough to warrant legitimate MVP consideration when it's traditionally a quarterback award, unless you're a running back who carries your team to the playoffs while running for 2,000 yards. At this point, it does sort of feel like Rodgers or Brady's award to lose. Do you see it that way, or can one of these dark horses, like a Jonathan Taylor, or a Stafford even though he might share votes with Cooper Kupp, can somebody else overtake Rodgers or Brady, or is it a two-horse race as far as you're concerned over these last three games?
Well, Kupp has an opportunity to, even in a 16-game frame, not a 17-game frame, he could break the all-time receiving yardage record in 16 games. He could challenge, he could get pretty close to the touchdown record. It would take a feat on his part. But in the 17-game frame, you're looking at the potential for Cooper Kupp to basically smash every wide receiving record there is. And people will say, well, it's that extra game. But I think even if you adjust it for totals and average it out, he would be right up there with like Jerry Rice in terms of putting up the best wide receiver season in history. MVP's tough because it really has turned into the focus of the league predominantly being on the quarterback, and it being pounded into your head as a voter that this is a quarterback league. There's no more important position than quarterback. You usually tend to default, I feel like when I look at voting, you default toward who is just the absolute dominant quarterback, and then now let me find if anyone else can potentially challenge this who's a non-quarterback. Normally that answer is no. That's why Derrick Henry rushes for 2,000 yards and doesn't win the MVP previously. Kupp, though, I think Kupp could get some votes. I think Jonathan Taylor of the Indianapolis Colts could get some votes. It's all going to come down to what your criteria is as a voter. I personally think that it's, Rodgers is probably it, because I think you take Rodgers off that team. We saw what the offense looked like under Jordan Love's stewardship. And in terms of Rodgers versus Brady, I think when you look at it's like Rodgers versus Mahomes last year. When you look at what's going on surrounding Rodgers, what he is playing with and the level that he is playing at, he doesn't have, he has look, Devontae Adams is amazing, probably the best pound for pound wide receiver in the league. He's right there. But then he doesn't have, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, the offensive line. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers offensive line is one of the best in the NFL. It's like Tom has a lot going for him that Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily, and I think you do have to weigh that in the process. It's going to be a wild vote, though. I'm telling you, because I really, truly believe there's a chance that you see 4 players get votes, 5.
Yeah. If ever a year running back could steal it, it might be this one.
Last question for you, Charles. I'm not going to ask you if the Jacksonville job is good because I know it is. I want to ask you who the perfect candidate is for that job. Who's the perfect head coach for the 2022 Jacksonville Jaguars?
As much as I promised myself I would never go back to the Josh McDaniels well ever again.
Didn't expect that one.
Yeah, I know. I didn't either. But I talked to somebody in the league, and we had a long conversation about Josh, and he feels like the work that Josh has done with Mac Jones, the work that he had done with Cam when Cam was healthy, fully healthy, like pre-COVID Cam when he first got there, has actually helped Josh's resume pretty considerably. And I don't know if that's true or not. I'll say this. The staff that he partially built in Indianapolis, pretty good. he left something there to work with for Frank Reich. I've been the most reticent person of all to put Josh back into anything. And I felt like after he backed out of Indianapolis, I was like, what are we doing here? He's never going to get a shot again. But just the track record that he has, the experience that he has, I think that there's a chance that he's learned something since the Denver experience considerably, a considerable amount.
I'll tell you, Michael, I'm glad you asked that because I was expecting an answer. Byron Leftwich is the most no-brainer candidate in Jacksonville. Sure. Like for me, just like stop the process, hone in on that one guy. Michael, I don't know about you. I had not thought about Josh McDaniels as a head coaching candidate probably since the Colts fiasco. But I imagine if he wants a job, you have to be crazy not to want to take him, unless people are just out, Michael, on Belichick apprentices altogether. I don't know. You know what I mean? But it just feels like if Josh McDaniels wants a job, how could you not consider Josh McDaniels?
He needed, real quick. He needed to work with somebody who wasn't Brady, okay? And I think, and to also see him work with a rookie too. I think I have to give him credit that Mac Jones has been a very good player. He has transitioned well, and I think he has grown. Albeit he was probably the most finished product as a quarterback coming in. I do think he has shown strides in that New England offense. And remember, it's not like a wealth of offensive pieces to work with. It's better talent. They've signed some guys, but I think the work that he's done with Mac Jones made me have to sit here and go, let me reconsider this a little bit because this is impressive. So I'm not. And by the way, I love Byron as a candidate as well. I do.
No doubt. No, I got you. I like you. I like you. Introducing somebody who, oddly enough, even though he's one of the hottest candidates at one time, is kind of off the radar now. Michael, you want to weigh in before we go to break?
Funny. What? No. Just real quick. I was going to say, where do I live? I mean, come on. Yeah, Mike. I live in Boston. Josh McDaniels, head coaching candidate. 180 days a year on Sports Talk Radio, Sports Talk TV. Oh, yeah.
Okay, but nationally, to Charles's part, he's not.
Nationally, probably not. But here, yes. For the last 2 years.
Real quick before we get out of here, the one thing I would be nervous about, though, is there was a lot of drama when Josh was the head coach, okay? And if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars, you're probably like, let's try to not get –
That's a good point,
let's get the most drama-averse coach we can possibly find this time.
I mean, look, if you're the Jaguars right now, not only is Leftwich ready, not only is Leftwich's body of work, with Brady, with Arians, and not to mention the credibility as a player, make him the perfect candidate, you actually do need to win the press conference. And I know that's not the same as winning games, but they need something positive. And a retread coach, with all due respect to everything you're saying, ain't going to hit the same as bringing Byron Leftwich home. So I think just like they...
Yeah, he's going to be a good hire.
But Shad Khan should zero in on that dude. Like, maybe have a backup plan, but that's the guy you're waiting for if you're Shad Khan.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.